I meant to actually do this update in my live stream this past Friday, which was the 14th. I don't know when this video is going to go up. I might have to kind of skip it ahead of a couple things because it is an update and I had already talked about it initially. But this is an update to the Bob Lee murder. As you all know, Bob Lee was the founder of Cash App, and he was murdered outside of his apartment in San Francisco a couple weeks ago, but they never knew who did it. But they ended up finding out who did. It was this man by the name of Nima Momemi, who was this guy right here. And plot twist, this is a person who's also involved in tech. So that's why I titled the thumbnail the way that I did. I said, will this be considered tech on tech crime? And when we found out that Bob Lee was stabbed to death, we're saying to ourselves, this was personal. This was very personal, because whenever someone gets stabbed, it's usually a personal matter, because when it comes to stabbing, it's an up close and personal type of act. You know, shooting, you can shoot from a distance. Now, I always say if you shoot at someone point blank range, like in the head, then that's personal. Any type of crime or murder that involves you to be very up close to your target means that it is a personal matter, at least in my opinion. But along with the lines and the guise of personal, it made you wonder what made this personal. Like, what was going down between the both of them that made this man kill Bob Lee? And lo and behold, I think we might have found a motive, or a possible motive. And it turns out that Nima Momemi has a sister, and apparently this incident happened over her. Now, I don't know all the details, but I think it started off as a fight and then it led to him being stabbed. So I'm going to read this article and see what other details we can find out. IT consultant Nima Momemi fatally stabbed Cash App founder Bob Lee through the heart after the pair fought about the suspect's sister and whether they were doing quote-unquote anything inappropriate, new court documents released Friday alleged. Police claim that before Lee was murdered on the streets of San Francisco in the early hours of April 4th, Momemi and the slain tech entrepreneur had talked on the phone about his sister, Kaiser Ella Asnia. I'm probably pronounced her name incorrectly, who was married to someone else. An unnamed witness told police that Momemi grilled Lee about his sister, asking if Kazar, who is married to a prominent plastic surgeon, was quote-unquote doing drugs or anything inappropriate. Bob Lee, who was 43, assured his alleged murderer that nothing out of bounds had happened. Police didn't elaborate on the relationship Lee had with his sister, not Bob Lee's sister, but with the suspect's sister, who was not named in the court documents. The witness told police it was unclear to them if Lee and Kazar had an intimate relationship. Lee had been estranged from his wife, with whom he shared 2 young girls at the time of his murder, and had moved from California to Florida with his dad. That fateful night, Momemi drove Lee to a dark and secluded area of San Francisco, the charging documents allege, where he stabbed him through the heart with a kitchen knife. A kitchen knife, y'all. Think Michael Myers. This wasn't a box cutter. This wasn't like a little carving knife. A kitchen knife. So when you think of a kitchen knife, think of something that has a very long blade to it. Momemi brought the knife with him from his home, which police said makes clear the murder was planned and deliberate. Kazar texted Lee around the time of his murder to check in on him, the documents claim. Just wanted to make sure you're doing okay, because I know Nima came way down hard on you, she wrote. And thank you for being such a class man, handling it with class. Love you, selfish pricks. Momemi was arrested Thursday morning after an exhaustive investigation and made his first appearance in court Friday, which attended by his sister and her husband. He flashed a heart sign to her from the dock, and she responded with the same symbol. Momemi is set to be formally arraigned on April 25th and faces more than 20 years in prison if convicted. He should get way more than a possibility of 20 years. It says police paint a somewhat hazy picture of Lee's final hours, saying he went between Kazar's multi-million dollar multi-million-dollar high-rise apartment which during the afternoon on April 3rd, where they drank along with a witness and someone else who lived in the apartment. The apartment has since been searched by police. The witness and Lee then head back to the Tech Titans hotel room in San Francisco, which is when he spoke to Momemi on the phone. The pair then went to Lee's apartment, also in San Francisco, where they hung out for a while. At 12:30 a.m., Lee left his own apartment. The witness stayed and never saw Lee again. Police did not explain the relationship between Lee and the witness, but said the two had known each other for around a decade. The morning of April 4th, the witness called a Khazar and asked if Lee had gone over, unsure where he went. The sister said yes, but only stayed for a second, adding that she fell asleep and doesn't know where he went. Video footage of the sister's apartment confirms Lee went back to Khazar's place in the early morning of April 4th. It also shows him and Momemi in an elevator together at 2:03 a.m. in the Ritzy building before the two got into the alleged killer's white BMW. Now, soon after, authorities said grainy video captured Lee and Momemi standing outside of the BMW for about 5 minutes in a deserted part of the wealthy Rincon Hills neighborhood. That's when it is believed Momemi stabbed Lee 3 separate times, prosecutors said in the motion to hold the suspect without bail. One of the wounds, showing a direct, clear intent to kill, penetrated the victim's heart, Assistant District Attorney Omid Talai wrote. Additionally, security cameras appear to show Lee walking away injured and Momemi walking near the area where the murder weapon was discovered, but the video isn't clear enough to show their faces. The white BMW then sped off at a high speed, police say, and Lee was left slowly to die. Now, that last part that I was reading, they were just giving like a run back of what led up to that and what the surveillance cameras caught. That is some wild stuff. So now we have a little bit more of an in-depth into what led up to this and what caused it. Because we're like, who would kill this man? Why would they kill him? And then we find out it was another person in tech, and we find out it's him, but we still don't know why he did it. And then we find out it's because of him assuming that there was some inappropriate things going on with Bob Lee and his sister, who was married to this plastic surgeon. But I'm looking at these timestamps, and I don't know, but something tells me something might have been going on. I'm just saying. But before I actually conclude the video, I'm going to show you a picture of his sister. Now, here's a picture of his sister right here. That is her husband, and it looks like he's holding their dog. This is the woman that Nima Momemi killed Bob Lee over for alleged doing inappropriate things with her. Now, my thing is this. If you had this assumption, which you should have did, was go to her and confront her about it and see what was going on. I'm surprised he didn't even try to go to the husband. He went straight to Bob Lee, which now makes me question even more. Did Nima Momemi know who Bob Lee was? You know, usually in tech, a lot of them kind of hang out in some of the same circles. I'm not saying that they're going to know everyone because they're all in tech, but I wonder if he knew him. Because again, it still was personal. And it's almost like, I don't know, was it a thing of a jealousy thing that he was jealous because he was the founder of Cash App or whatever the case may be? After all, Nima Momemi was only a consultant. He worked in tech, but he was only a consultant. It's not like he was the founder or the CEO of anything. So I wonder if there's even a little bit more to this story than just, oh, you was meeting up with my sister to do inappropriate things. They mentioned drugs and all types of stuff like that. But I'm telling you, these timestamps, something could have been going on. I don't know. It's all alleged at this point, but we do know what is true, that Nima Momemi did murder Bob Lee. And the fact that they say he could face 20 years in 20 years, this dude should get life. But, you know, it is what it is. If you have some kind of little bit of privilege there, some things might actually work out for you. But he, in my opinion, should get way more than 20 years because this was a clear, calculated attack and murder, as far as I'm concerned. I'm surprised they didn't try to go for murder in the first degree because it sounded very deliberate.